Hey there, hi there. Welcome again. It's the Gun Cranks, the show that's guaranteed 100% to be free of annoying facts or figures. I'm Guns Magazine editor Brent Wheat, along with American Handgunner editor Tom McHale and special assignments editor Roy Huntington. Hello, gentlemen. Welcome back to our program.
God, is it that time again?
It is. Now, I got to say, going in, you want to talk about live without a net? Our producer, Nick, apparently was abducted or something just a few minutes before the show was supposed to be recorded. So Tom McHale is serving dual roles.
I'm in charge. Okay, quick survey in the comments. How many people remember Alexander Haig?
I'm in charge here. I'm in charge here. Yeah. Hopefully you'll do it better. Well, today we've got a show that we literally put together 3 minutes before we hit record. And it was because we were talking about all this stuff going on in Florida, terrible situation there, but they're telling folks, be careful about snakes. And I was telling a family member who just moved to Florida, have you ever dealt with water moccasins? They are the blank of snakes because they're just ugly and mean and they will come after you. So we started talking about that, and we've all got snake stories. So we said, let's just do a Guns of the Snake Hunters story. So let me start by talking about my background. I grew up, I spent a lot of time at my grandparents' cabin along a well-known creek in our area. And I lived a Tom Sawyer life. The only thing was, in the morning when I would run out the door, my grandmother would say, be home by dinner and watch out for the snakes, they'll get you. And I'm pretty sure that imprinted pretty heavily on me, to the point where I'd say even 15 years ago, if I ran across a snake while I was waiting or just hiking, I was done. I'm going home. Or the gun comes out and we take care of business. I have now come full circle. I've, through my friends in the outdoors, I've actually held a snake. The picture, you can tell, you can't really tell what's more terrified, the snake or I, but at least I've held one. But I got to admit, I've shot an awful lot of snakes and shot at a lot of snakes. So, gentlemen, acknowledging the fact that, no, we shouldn't shoot snakes because they're part of the ecosystem. And I agree with them for the most part, but moccasins, no. So, sorry, ain't happening.
They're part of the underworld is what they're part of.
They are. They're Satan's right-hand man.
Well, let's just establish the fact right now. If I'm walking in the woods and I stumble onto a snake, I say hi and step around him and we go our separate ways.
See, that's where you and I differ, though, because I'm walking in the woods and I stumble upon a snake and I scream like a little girl. And so we're a little different in that respect.
Do the
but go on.
Dance,
sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. But
yeah, it's all right. And I live in rural Missouri. My house is surrounded with forests. We have a lot of snakes here, mostly black snakes and those kind of gardeny kind of snakes. And but we do have copperheads. And I know copperheads aren't the most lethal snake in the world, but they do bite you and you can get really sick. Our rule with that is that if they're in the woods, then that's fine. We share. But they tend to get around the house, around the base of the house and stuff. And my wife, Susie, is one of those itinerant weed pullers. She's like, if you're talking to her, she'll bend down and start pulling weeds, right? And she's always coming up with one, somewhere. And so those don't live to see the sunset.
Well, it's all about boundaries, right?
Yeah. And I don't ever use a gun for that kind of stuff. It's either if I've got my boots on, I just stomp them, or get a rock, or there's a shovel, or whatever, because they're not usually very big or anything. But I agree with you on the water moccasins. When it's time to tell some snake stories, I got us a good water moccasin story.
See, we have a lot of those around here, a lot of moccasins, and they are irritable. They really are. In fairness, even moccasins like you, Roy, if I'm out and about somewhere and I encounter a moccasin, nod, say hello, have a nice day. I don't need to shoot them. But when they're in my garage or, hanging out in my yard with toddlers and pets, no.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
No, you have to draw the line, And when Brent, you and I did a podcast about something, and we were talking about moccasins and shooting them, and they're aggressive, and somebody in the comments said, I'll give you $1,000 to show me a video of a water moccasin attacking somebody. And all I got to say is, I wished I had been videoing the last time I was on the Verdigris River in Oklahoma, because I was with some good old boys there in John boats. We were shooting squirrels in the trees, and these were guides, hunting guides, and they all had like some old rusty RG-38 revolver in the top pocket of their overalls that they kept loaded with CCI shot cartridges. And as we're cruising the river there, you'd see a water moccasin over along the far bank, and you'd see him, and he would see us, and then veer over to the boat. and I thought, oh, well, that's kind of cool. You know, I'm going to be able to get a good close-up. And they got up to the boat, and it's like, you know, like trying to climb in the boat. At least that's what I thought it was doing.
It's trying to kill all of you. That's what they do.
These old boys are so funny. They'll be talking to you about, yeah, we'll go up here, go around the bend here, and as they're talking to you, they reach in their overall, pull out that old rusty RG-38 or something, poosh, shoot the water moccasin, right? Tuck it back in their pocket. Well, I did it for 2 days. I was there for 2 days. They shot every single water moccasin they saw. I helped a little bit. And
of course you did.
and we never saw fewer water moccasins. I mean, and I asked him, I said, do you do this all the time? He said, yes, sir. We shoot them all whenever we see them. And I said, well, do they like eventually go away? No, sir. So I saw them try to climb in my boat, so nobody could tell me that they're not aggressive, because they are.
Well, you told that story on the Guns Magazine podcast on our episode about the Altor pistol. And you saw the light. You see now it's a great kayaking snake gun or all that. But I believe I told the story last time I was in Florida. I saw a big, heavy moccasin laying on the fog line of the road. And I pull over there to get some video. This thing's striking at the truck. You know, the truck outweighs it about 100,000 times, and it's made of steel. And this snake is striking at it. That's everything you need to know about moccasins, and I guarantee you we will get comments down here. Oh, they're lovely creatures, and they're cuddly, and we love them. And well, that's good. I'm glad you love them, because I've seen those videos on the internet of those guys that go out and catch them and kiss on them and cuddle them, and good for you. Wonderful. And those are also the same people that you're going to hear a YouTube star dies from snake bite, and you're going to go, huh.
Well, you know, there's always somebody who doesn't live on a farm somewhere who says, you know, a bull is cute and cuddly and you should pet them, you know. So somebody living in an apartment in New York is listening to this and wondering why we're such Neanderthals when it comes to this kind of stuff. And it's like, until you open, like Tom, you said in the garage, I mean, I've opened up the garage door and you go to walk out there and there's a copperhead in the garage. And, you know, and you just let the dogs out. And it's like, no, you overstepped. You're welcome.
Our latest one was I have a downstairs. The garage is on the ground level, and the house is one up here. You know, it's mainly to defend against water moccasin invasion because they have trouble, you know, getting up a whole story. But I opened the garage door to go out onto the patio, and big old moccasin, probably 4 feet long, curled up on the doormat. Like, open the door and just immediately slam it shut.
Hello.
That's a rude surprise.
On his doormat.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
Apparently he owns it now. So
when I was with these old boys, there was a part where we had to walk along the riverbank to get to where we were going to shoot some of these squirrels. And I think it was a Smith & Wesson hunt or something. We had some new semi-auto 22 pistol they had just invented in the late 80s or early 90s. And so I was walking along, and I stopped, and I was looking up in the trees, and I looked down, and there was a water moccasin right at my feet, kind of curled up a little bit. And I thought, because I didn't know really, can you move? Or will they get you before you move or anything? So I slowly lowered the pistol like this, and had a scope on it, which made it a little bit awkward. And I lit this snake up, right? You know, empty this magazine, and he kind of half slithered away and stuff like that. And there's two of the guides, and these are good old boys from Oklahoma, right? And they're there, and they are laughing like us, you know, just laughing. And they said, I ain't never heard me a 22 go full auto like that. So, true story.
No doubt.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Well, I'll tell the story, and this, okay, as an outdoor person, a conservationist and all that, I shot a non-poisonous snake. I'll admit it. But again, this was back in my day before I took the cure. I was wading this creek that I grew up on, and I cast my lure near a log jam, and of course I overshot, so it caught the log jam. Log jams are the natural habitat of the water snake. We have, I believe they're northern water snakes here, and they kind of look like water moccasins, but they're non-poisonous. But they're a pretty surly kind of snake, so you really don't want to handle them or anything. And plus, they musk on you, which I found out it's pretty gross. But anyway, so I this huge log jam that like the size of my house, where all these logs were all intertwined. I knew there had to be snakes in there, so I'm gingerly walking up because I cast a nice plug in there, $5-6 plug. I didn't want to lose it, and it was embedded in the wood hard enough I had to go get it. So you talk about a guy tiptoeing like he's diffusing a bomb or something, and I'm looking all around, and all of a sudden, here comes a snake, pops up from the water right in front of me. I don't think anybody heard me because there were probably no dogs around, because that's how high-pitched my scream made. So I walked on top of the water about 25 feet back to the middle of the creek, and it was that, I hate to lose that lure, but there's a snake, hate to lose that lure. I pulled out remember the AMT backup? The 380 AMT backup. It's literally the size of your palm, and I was carrying it in my waders. And I thought,
one that actually worked, huh?
Yeah, I did, and I had Winchester silver tips in it. And I thought, there's no way I can hit this snake from here, but I can kind of get him out of the area, right? So I take aim, and it's just got rudimentary sights. I mean, it won't hit you from here to the other side of the room. I smoked that snake, blew it right in half. I was so proud of myself. So now I'm feeling pretty good, and I thought, well, I'll just wait over there and go get that lure. And just as I reached over there, I kicked a log that I hadn't seen underwater that was connected to all this. I kid you not, 4,000 snakes rained down from every place. And that lure, as far as I know, is still embedded in the tree. And I have to say, even though I was wearing waders, there was some water pollution that day. It was pretty ugly.
That's where they got all the snakes for that Indiana Jones movie then. Right?
Oh, that's exactly what it was like. At least it seemed that way to a guy that was deathly afraid of snakes. So I shouldn't have shot that snake. It wasn't hurting anything, but it was a hell of a shot.
Well, see, I had no idea that the 380 was a perfect snake gun.
Well, that was going to be my question. Real quick, what's your perfect snake gun? Roy?
Whatever I'm carrying.
My Altor 9mm.
There you go. With shot, right?
Yeah.
Brent?
Why not? Sure.
Truly, it's whatever I'm carrying. We don't have snake problems around here that much, so it's not really worth carrying snake shot like you do in Roy's area or out west where you're going to run into rattlers and all that stuff. We have copperheads around here, and we have timber rattlers, which are endangered in our state, so you're really not supposed to mess with them, and you would really have to go looking for them. I've seen two, and they were both on the road. But for the most part, in my state, leave them alone. They'll leave you alone. Everybody's kumbaya. You play the guitar and hug each other. So it's whatever gun I'm carrying at the time. But I have shotgunned them.
It works.
Well,
it works.
Tom, what's your...
Mine's an M&P, Smith & Wesson M&P 22 compact with a suppressor, but loaded with Calibri, Aguila Calibri bullets, the chargeless primer-only little mini 22s. Nice and quiet. You got to be precise. So
why the suppressor? You don't want the snakes to hear the one that's going to get them?
Yeah.
Well,
they
no,
never hear you coming. So.
He lives in a suburban neighborhood.
No, it's because yeah. On that note, we're out of time.
Oh no!
Yeah.
The producer has spoken.
Producer has spoken. You will obey.
Okay. So, we will obey.
Wrap it up.
Well, I always have to wrap things up by saying make sure you check out gunsmagazine.com, americanhandgunner.com, americancop.com, and all of our special interest publications. Tom, I always throw this to you, and you always go, I don't know what it is. What is our current special interest publication folks can buy on Amazon? I know. There's an endless stream of them, though.
Our latest on the shelves is the Old West special edition. So lots and lots of great Renaissance man stories of the Old West in that. So check it out. Give it a read.
There's no stories about shooting snakes, but you could always use a single action for that.
No, I don't think so. Not in this issue. So.
Okay, maybe the next one. Also, don't forget to check out Guns Magazine podcast at all of your favorite podcast directories, Spotify, and et cetera, Apple Podcasts. So anyway, gentlemen, it's been an interesting talk about snakes, and make sure you leave a comment down there. Tell us what a sack of dirty, rotten you-know-whats because we've shot snakes, or tell us how you take care of snakes that show up around your property. We'd love to hear from you. So on behalf of Roy Huntington and Tom McHale, I'm Guns Magazine editor Brent Wheat. We'll see you next time.